I want to share some personal friends and stories with you that I've actually never talked about in public before to help illustrate the idea and the need and the hope for us to reinvent our healthcare system around the world. 24 years ago, I had a sophomore in college. I had a series of fainting spells. No alcohol was involved. And I ended up in student health, and they ran some lab work and came back right away and said, kidney problems. And before I knew it, I was involved and thrown into this sort of 6 months of tests and trials and tribulations with 6 doctors across 2 hospitals in this sort of clash of medical titans to figure out which one of them was right about what was wrong with me. And I'm sitting in a waiting room sometime later for an ultrasound, and all 6 of these doctors actually show up in the room at once, and I'm like, uh-oh, this is bad news. And their diagnosis was this. They said, you have 2 rare kidney diseases that are going to actually destroy your kidneys eventually. You have cancer-like cells in your immune system that we need to start treatment right away, and you'll never be eligible for a kidney transplant, and you're not likely to live more than 2 or 3 years. Now, with the gravity of this doomsday diagnosis, it just sucked me in immediately. And as if I began preparing myself as a patient to die according to the schedule that they had just given to me. Until I met a patient named Verna in a waiting room who became a dear friend, and she grabbed me one day and took me off to the medical library and did a bunch of research on these diagnoses and these diseases and said, Eric, these people who get this are normally in their 70s and 80s. They don't know anything about you. Wake up. Take control of your health and get on with your life. And I did. Now, these people making these proclamations to me were not bad people. In fact, these professionals were miracle workers, but they're working in a flawed, expensive system that's set up the wrong way. It's dependent on hospitals and clinics for our every care need. It's dependent on specialists who just look at parts of us. It's dependent on guesswork of diagnoses and drug cocktails until something either works or you die. And it's dependent on passive patients who just take it and don't ask any questions. Now, the problem with this model is that it's unsustainable globally. It's unaffordable globally. We need to invent what I call a personal health system.